Do you agree that marriage is very central to the message of the Bible as a whole, i.e. creation, Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob and his several wives, in brackets, if only to show the problems of polygamy, Son of Solomon, etc., and regarding fertility, Abraham and Sarah's miraculous parenthood in old age?
So at the beginning, the question is marriage central to the message of the Bible? Yeah, because it's about Christ and the church. So Isaac and Rebekah's story, the reason that's important, that story, is because of Christ and church. All of these stories where we focus on married couples in the Bible, especially Song of Solomon, that's about Christ and church. The reason marriage has an importance in the Bible is because we are all made to get married in that sense. And if you go back again through the way that these things are preached on in history, the classic sermons on all these couples and Songs of Solomon and Hosea, think of Hosea. It's all about like marriage, and God is married to people and his wife betrays him and all this sort of thing. Marriage is important. Jesus, marriage feast of Canaan, he talks about marriage, doesn't he? In his parables, he's like, at the marriage feast at the end of all things, when the bridegroom comes and there's the virgins who've got the oil and those who haven't, and he talks about this bridegroom coming in the future. You think, well, he's a single guy. Why has he got marriage on the mind all the time? Because it's the marriage. And when you get to the end of Revelation, the marriage feast of the Lamb and the bride of Christ coming down from heaven as beautifully prepared and all this sort of thing. So I'm saying, yeah, it is a central issue in the Bible, the marriage of Christ. But it's not like, and then the question gets into the messiness of just the merely human marriages in the Bible. They're all messy. Abram, Sarah, all of them are messy because if they become the center of attention, there's no answers there, but they pointing us to. See, even those miraculous births with like Abraham, what is the meaning of that miraculous birth of Isaac? Well, it's told us it's about the gospel. It's about an impossible birth that happens by the power of God and not human effort. Think of Galatians, think of Romans, think of how these miraculous births are explained. They're not a miraculous birth, therefore, how brilliant is human fertility? It's the opposite point. Here's a miraculous birth, therefore, how weak is human fertility? And how wonderful is God's power to deliver this gospel reality. Trust him.
Which is what Paul says about the Adam and Eve story.
Yes.
Not good to be alone, he says. Yeah. I'm speaking of Christ and the church. Yeah?
Ephesians 5? Yeah, the Ephesians 5 is an excellent example where Paul just explicitly just goes, oh, you know that story of Adam and Eve? The man, it's not good that he's alone. He says, of course I am talking about Christ and the church. It's about Christ and the church. And it's that thing that there's this weird way, isn't it? Adam's created. There he is, master of the universe. There, but he hasn't got the right one. Has a look at all the creatures. Nah, none of them are good enough. One of the creatures, of course, was like the devil and all the angels. They're not good enough. Then he's got to be finding one. Well, he is the one. Then he's put into a death-like sleep. And then his side is cut open. And out of his side, a bride is taken for him to marry of his very flesh and bone. And you're like, what? This is the weirdest story. How is this? This completely wacky story of him dying, being put into like a death-like sleep, his side being opened up, and out of that, he's the one he's going to marry. That's just weird. And then you go, but is it? No, that's obviously about Christ dying and out of his side and all of, isn't it? It's about that. So the man, which is, when it says it's not good that the man is alone, that's real. Who is the man who is not going to be alone and refuses to be alone and will die to get his bride? It's about Jesus and us and the fact that he won't be alone, and the Father doesn't think he should be alone, and neither does the Spirit, and he will die to make sure he's not. He dies for us because he can't live without us. He can't live without us, and he's like, I'll die to keep you with me forever because I won't be alone. I'm going to be married to you and have you with me forever. That's what that story's about.